Hi, it's me, Rudo, back here for the first time. That's my new catchphrase, because I say it every time. DDLC Plus, Doki-Doki Literature Club Plus, for the uninitiated. Now, I'm doing something a little different than I'm not sure I've ever really done on the channel before, which is that I'm not intending to play through the main game of this on the channel. If you really want me to, you can tell me, and I'll probably do that. I played the original through, well, the original, it's still the same game. I played the original release of it through around the time it came out, so I'm familiar with the story, and I played it all the way through at that point a few times, I think, just to like see stuff I missed and all that. And I pre-ordered this thing basically the second it was announced, and the second it came to my attention, and it only just arrived yesterday evening, which was, does it tell you the date on this? It sure doesn't. It's November 16th, 2021, today. So it came yesterday, the 15th of November. As I understand, it got delayed in a bunch of junk. So I'm only interested in doing, for the purposes of the video, the side stories. And now that I've mentioned that, it feels pertinent to mention that since I've played the main story through, this is not going to be a spoiler-free run. Even if I wanted it to be, I probably wouldn't be able to help myself from being like, oh, like that's like the part in the main story when... But additionally, now that that is out of the way, that this is not a spoiler-free run, because the next thing is, although very important, also kind of a spoiler, I suppose, is that this game deals with some pretty intense subject matter at times, and does not tend to do it delicately, because it is a horror game. Such things as abusive families, self-harm, suicide, that like of thing, which bears noting before you move in henceforth. Although I will say that this Plus version has done a much better job of disclaiming it than the original release did, because the original release was so precious about pretending that it wasn't a horror game, because it's one of those things where it's like, it's a twist horror game, but it says on the store page that it's a horror game, so it's like, I don't know what what the objective is. Sorry, I know I'm rambling, and I'll do a little bit more preambly-rambly in a minute, so hopefully I'll put it in my brain to put the timestamp for when my rambly stops and I get into the actual game. So I'll say, aside from my gripes about, for other purposes of the original game, although that's not what this video is really about, aside from my gripes about some of the way it handles some of the subject matter, indelicately, I guess, if this is really my main issue with it, and how it's ambitious, somewhat ambitious, like premise of being like very self-aware and meta only goes as far, it's a little skin deep at times, because there are plenty of things that you can change within the fictional set of files in the game that do not have an effect on the story that makes any sense, which I guess there's no point in getting into all, because all I'm going to do is get people upset with me, and I barely explaining what I mean right in the first place. Anyways, that aside, I really liked the main game and the story, and like it works really well as like a sweet and like wholesome and colorful dating sim before everything happens. It's got pretty solid characters and arcs within them, and it's really heckin' cute. I was replaying, because you had to unlock these, you had to play. Well, I say replay, but because I'm playing this on Switch, played it originally on Steam, and because this is like a different version of the game and everything, you have to play through certain parts of the main story before you unlock these, which I had to do. So I spent like a half an hour just like mashing through it, basically, because I didn't want to reread it too early, because if I had got sucked into it, and I still got sucked into it anyways. I was like tearing up at one point. I'm sure I have that clip down on the middle of the screen right now ish.
I'm gonna cry. Yeah, I'm crying. Oh my god.
And I laughed several times. It's a very funny game. So to my knowledge, I looked very briefly onto some, I don't even remember if it was IGN or whatever, just a guide on like if there was anything you had to do to unlock these, and then basically you had to play through the main arc a few times, just like you do in the base game if you want to get the good ending, blah, 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 blah. So I played through like about half of the main story, but like 3 times. Oh, whoopsies. I hit the A button. So you can go out of the main game onto this sort of fictional desktop PC where the side stories are. And I guess you can also look at the pictures that you get, like the CGs in the main thing. Mail and files, that's probably going to make spooky stuff happen if you do the later main story. So I don't know if we want to do that just yet. But I'd like to get into these and stop babbling. My original idea was to because the DDLC Plus website just says something like new hours of gameplay. It made it sound like it wasn't going to be terribly long, but looking at this, because there's a side story for each pairing of character, i.e. 6, and they're split into part 1 and 2, it makes me think that each part is probably going to be roughly 40 minutes, especially considering I'm going to be reading it aloud, which will make it take longer. So if we have 12 parts times 40, that's what, 40 plus 48, 480 minutes, which is how many hours? Like 6 or 7. So I may end up splitting this into multiple episodes. Perhaps what I'll do is I'll do all of Trust this episode and all of Understanding next time, whatever. Now, my last bit of the ramble, I guess I'll just go into it with my hopes and preconceptions of what these may be like. It says even right at the top, the side stories are stories of friendship that are unrelated to the events of the main game. So what it sounds like to me is these are meant to be outside of the spooky meta of the main story, and they're just meant to be like supplementary content that explains more of the characters' relationships and stays in the chill times of the game for the whole time. So I'm not expecting, though I wouldn't be terribly surprised about any spooky happenings or meta jump scares and all that nonsense. So we may be in for a fright or two. I kind of hope that's not the case, because to me it would kind of dampen the cool part of this, which is origin stories of all the characters' relationships, which is, I mean, that's like the coolest thing you could have as a supplementary sort of thing. So that's my hope, is that it'll stay away from the horror aspect and just be a dialogue between the characters, like extra dialogue between the characters, essentially, to build that more. And given it's a dating sim, I don't know, it's sort of like customary that you grow attached to one of the characters more than the others, and I don't know if I really represent any particular tendency in that respect, given that I like to call the characters anyway, so I'm sure that I will like every single conversation. This is going to be tricky. This is going to be like when I started playing Apollo Justice for the first time, because since I played the game a few times already, I have a very clear idea of what all the characters sound like in my brain, and doing that with my own face is difficult. It'll be just like Ace Attorney, where I'll be like, that's what they sound like when I try to do them? Oh my god. And perhaps we won't do Understanding this time, because that's also a Sayuri one. Maybe we do Sayuri Monica this time, and then we do a complete other set of characters, so I guess that would be Yuri and Natsuki next time. I'm also pretty confident that this has nothing got to do with the protagonist character of the main story, so which suggests to me that it's probably not going to be from either of their perspectives as well. It's going to be all third person, which will be very interesting. Begin this side story. Let's do that. Loading. Wow, that was a super speedy loading screen. There's new music and stuff, but this is the same CG of Sayuri's Neighborhood. Well, I guess they probably all look this. Probably, don't they? Ooh, this is pretty, like, so far. Oh, I like this. Soccer tryouts? Hell no. I want to go to the bake sale. My goodness. Okay. That's so weird. It looks like it's really early in the morning to be going to school. I've been at school at like 4 or 5 in the morning for like drama rehearsals and stuff. Ugh. So I feel their pain if that's what they're doing right now. All right, Monica. Okay, everyone. The literature club is starting. Let's all have a seat and take attendance, okay? I miss debate club. Who knew it would be so difficult to start a new club? I feel worse with every day that passes without anyone coming in. I'm really starting to lose confidence. Oh, so there's just no one there? Rip. Monica is the only member of the literature club. In the days that have passed, all of our efforts to recruit new members have been fruitless. Am I going about this wrong? Monica glances at one of her flyers. Does that mean Sayuri was the first one? Oh, that sweetheart. The headline is, do you like literature? Maybe no one is into literature enough to pick it over their other club interests. I can't just rely on people liking literature. I need to sell them on a vision. A vision. But what kind of vision? Monica rests her head on the desk, deep in thought. But before she realizes that the recent nights of staying up too late start to catch up to her. It's so quiet and the noise of the air conditioner is soothing. Oh dear. And when she woke up, she was in Bizarro World and she had to fight Space Batman. Well, I guess that's just Samus, right? I guess gotta be Sayuri, right? Hello? Yes, it is. Suddenly, a voice causes Monica to snap awake. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I never do this. Is this the napping club? No, this is... Monica pauses, suddenly embarrassed to admit that this is, in fact, the literature club. Shit me, it's really loud. Sorry, I guess it's just my headphones. Hang on. That's much better. Sorry, I'll jack the settings and so it's the same volume for you, right? But for me, that was like absurdly loud. This is the literature club. Yay! I thought I got it wrong for a sec. I'm super sorry. It was like so unprofessional of me to do that. Don't apologize. I do that all the time. Oh. Did I miss the club meeting? Where is everybody? Well, about that. This is everybody. Really? Just you? But we're getting more members. I'm working really hard on it. Hold on a sec. If it's just you... That means I get to be vice president! Wait, vice president? What are your qualifications? Well, I'm better at napping than you. Maybe I should be president. Now you're just making fun of me. Oh, I'm sorry. What was your name? Sayuri. Okay, Sayuri. I've been trying... Well, you didn't know her? Somehow it feels like well, I guess high schools can be pretty big. I've been trying really, really hard on this club. I know you caught me at a weird time, but It's really disheartening to be not taken seriously, you know? I care so much about this. I just want to find other people who do too. Oh, no. I'm so sorry. I do care, I promise. I have a hard time being serious, that's all. You and me both. I didn't mean for it to hurt you. And I was joking about the vice president thing too. I would make a terrible vice president. I mean, I'm sure that Monica tries to say something reassuring, but it's difficult when she still doesn't know much about Sayuri. It's cool how they still have, would normally be the internal monologue about, like, I tried to say something reassuring, but it's the same sort of format and the same of writing. It's very cool. I'm sorry that this isn't, like, a real club yet. Would you still be interested in joining after I found a few more members, at least? Well, no. I want to join now. Really? Yeah, it sounds like a lot of fun. Besides, I can tell how hard you've been working. You're doing something amazing, and you should be proud of it, you know? So let me help you turn something stressful into something fun. If nothing else, I'm good at that, so... Honestly, how could I possibly say no to that? That's really sweet of you, Sayuri. Oh, I'm Monica, by the way. Monica? That's such a cool name. Ah, now you're just trying to cheer me up. But you're smiling. Well, I didn't say it didn't work. Monica glances at the flyer on her desk and realizes that her name is already written on it. So, what do we do first? Well, it's getting pretty late, isn't it? We can go home and try to come up with some new ideas to recruit club members. Okay, so it's the evening. I can do that. Cool. And I think I need to put some more thought into my vision for the club. You know, like a mission. My mission is to make everyone happy. Yeah, something like that. I need to think about it. Hey, do you like hugs? I love hugs. I guess so. Sayuri suddenly pulls Monica into a friendly hug and then let's go. Some people can really just use a hug sometimes. You know, I was thinking that when playing through the main story again. I was like, man, why doesn't someone just hug Sayuri once during this? I mean, once, yes, it happens, but only once. Besides, Sayuri whispers loudly, hug energy is what keeps me at my best. Unless the besides what was whispered. Hug energy? Monica laughs. Although Sayuri is very different from her, Monica feels her spirits lifted. Maybe it's just because she finally found another club member. But, well, I'm looking forward to it tomorrow then. It'll be fun. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm gonna think really hard about tonight how to get more people. Yeah, me too. Oh, that was very sweet. But everything went wrong that night. No, never mind. A day passes and the time comes for the literature. That's the same happy song. The time comes for the literature club, Monica and Sayuri, to reconvene. As president, Monica ensures that she's the first to arrive to the club room, but she finds herself waiting longer than expected for Sayuri and falls asleep again. It's been 10 minutes already. Maybe Sayuri changed her mind about joining? No, that can't be. She was so excited yesterday. But I'm getting kind of worried. Suddenly, Sayuri comes bounding through the door. In her hand, she's holding a sheet of paper. Sorry I'm late! I'm here! It's okay. Welcome back. And? Sayuri spins over to Monica and deposits the sheet onto Monica's desk. Oh, what's this? Oh yeah, because they haven't really decided it's poetry that they're doing yet, right? So I guess that must be explained in one of these 6. Perhaps even this one right now. Take my hand, take me forward, take me to your dreamland. Caution me to watch my steps so I can't look back at my footprints. Climb the stairs ahead of me while I look up to you. The more I look forward, the more I look up, the more I can lend to you. If you can trust me to follow your pace, I'll trust you to set it. If you can trust me to lend you a smile, I'll trust you to return it. Take my hand, take me forward, take me to your dreamland. Damn, that's good. Hey, this is really good. You wrote this, Sayuri? Of course. Wait, no, that's the wrong side of the paper. Huh? I wasn't ready to share that yet. I'm so embarrassed. Monica flips over the paper. Written on the other side is a list of ideas for recruiting new club members. Oh, so this is what you meant to show me. But I'm curious now. Do you write poetry often? I do. But I'm sure I'm not anywhere near as good at it as you are. Really? I'm actually terrible at writing poetry. I've never written anything I was happy with. Well, that's how poetry is sometimes. God, I took a number of creative writing classes, and poetry was just like the one thing. I mean, I made one that was passable once or twice, but God, it's just so... There's always like a ridiculously fine line between too cerebral and just the perfect expression of, well, whatever. Ugh, poetry. Like, I always read it again a week later after I write it, and I'm like, wow, this is so stupid. I don't know. It's like the dramatic version of me doesn't agree with the person I want myself to be, or something like that. Damn, that's exactly how it is when you write poetry. Holy crap. Aw, you should have more confidence in yourself. You're the literature club president. I guess you're not wrong there. I need to, like, set a good example or whatever. You know, I can envision the club doing something like that.
Doing what?
You know, like sharing poems we write and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. I would love that. It's such a good way to learn about
You know?
It's such a good way to learn about other people, you know? It's like we have so many emotions that we can't express to other people, usually. But you can when it's in a poem, right?
Yeah. I think that's helping me form a more cohesive vision for the club. So I'm glad you showed me. Well, even though it was by accident.
Me too. I felt embarrassed at first, but now it feels kind of good that someone else read it. I'll try to show you more of them in the future.
I'd love that. Geez, I'm getting distracted. Do you want to go over this recruitment brainstorm together?
My brain stormed so hard, it was like a brain hurricane. My brain is a natural disaster.
Sorry, that's terrible. Anyway, let's look at the list. Make cupcakes.
I was hungry. But it's a good idea, isn't it?
Let me think about this. I mean, when will we have the chance to give people cupcakes?
You know, like when they come into the club. What if we said we had free cupcakes on the flyers?
I'm like kind of worried that would bring in the wrong kinds of people, you know?
Wrong kinds?
People would just come for the cupcakes and then leave.
Aw, nobody would do that. That would be mean.
But, you know, I want to find people who are really into literature, even if they don't know it yet. Let's see, the next thing on the list. Hunt for people reading books. I don't think I get it.
Like going around the school and finding people who are reading books, you know? Like in the morning or during lunch, and we tell them to check out the literature club.
Well, the problem with that is, like, wouldn't most people reading books just be doing it for an assignment or something? How would we know if they're just reading it for fun?
Well, we could ask them, but then we'd be bothering people who are just trying to do schoolwork. I didn't think about that part. I'm sorry.
Hey, don't apologize. You're coming up with a lot more things than I can. Your next idea is to hand out flyers rather than just put up on the wall. Man, it's great how I can speak for 3 minutes at a time before making just like an absolute tumbling down a hill of the mouth. I definitely like to start doing that.
I'm useful!
I never said you weren't. I just need to think. What would we tell people when handing them out? I don't want to just be like, join the literature club. Let's figure out how we can better engage people.
What if you told them about the club activities and stuff?
We haven't gotten any of those yet, Sayuri. What club activities? Yeah, I guess it's supposed to be my job to come up with that, right? A vision for the club. Okay, Sayuri, pretend you're a normal person for a second. Oh, wait, I didn't mean it like that. You know, a random passerby is getting a flyer. How would you react to the idea of a literature club?
Probably like, literature's stupid. I'm joining the anime club.
What the heck?
Sorry, I was just thinking of a friend of mine.
Okay, what if I said that we, like, do group reading and discuss it together?
I would probably nap through that.
That's you, Sayuri.
Yeah, but that doesn't really sound fun to most people anyway. We need to really catch their interest, you know?
This sucks. Why is this so hard?
Monica, don't be sad.
What do you like about literature, Sayuri?
Me? Well, kind of what I said about the poem earlier. I think it gives you the chance to express yourself. Like, express yourself in ways you can't normally do when you're just doing your normal day and talking to your friends. I mean, we all have so many thoughts and feelings that we just don't get to share, you know? It's like intimate.
Yeah. How do we get that across to people? We could be like, express your true self.
Be intimate with us.
Okay, that's kind of...
I'm just kidding.
Oh my gosh. What? What is it?
I forgot all my things in my classroom. I must have gotten too excited and rushed here. Silly me.
Rushed? But weren't... never mind. Did you want to go get your stuff then?
I'll forget if I don't do it now.
Well, I'll wait for you then.
Okay, it'll only take a second.
Sayuri dashes out of the room for 3 hours, leaving Monica momentarily alone. Monica sighs and starts jotting her thoughts on a sheet of paper. Express yourself. Be who you want to be. Make new friends. Discover a new you. Discover your heart. No. Write your heart out. No. Write into your heart. Write the way into your heart. Join the literature club. Write the way into your heart. Oh, that's lame.
Monica!
Ah! You startled me.
Sorry. But it's something important. On the way to my classroom, there was a girl reading a book.
Reading a book?
That's Ray and Recruiter.
Wait, are you sure she's not just doing homework? I could tell she was really into it. Well, I guess we could take a look. Monica grabs one of her flyers and stands up from her desk. Then the two depart the classroom, with Sayuri leading the way. Oh, it also occurs to me, I forget if I mentioned this earlier, I'm only hoping that the part 2s of these are just unlocked by doing the part 1, and it's not like you have to play further in the main story to unlock the part 2s, because that would just be, that would totally ruin my flow.
This way!
You don't have to run. Sayori leads Monica over to a particular classroom and then lowers her voice to a whisper.
See, in here.
Monica peers through the window. Sure enough, there's a girl sitting alone, intently reading a book. I feel like a creep doing this.
You should go inside and talk to her. Me? You're the president, and I would probably scare her away. Okay, fine, I'll do it.
Monica takes a deep breath and then timidly enters the room of the class.
That was fast.
Oh my gosh, I'm so embarrassed.
Why? What happened?
Well, I entered the classroom and she didn't even look up from her book, so I kind of just left the flyer on her desk and then walked out.
That's kind of cute. But I'm sure she'll see it and want to join the club.
Monica's just like...
I hope so. Shall we head back now?
I was strangely chipper that I just acted that last line, or read that last line. What I'm doing right now was kind of hard to call acting. The two head back to the classroom, the club room, pardon me, Sayori feeling rather accomplished and Monica still feeling a bit embarrassed by the encounter. That is intensely understandable. Upon returning, Monica and Sayori resumed their strategy meeting. The ballistas go here! They discuss various different kinds of recruitment tactics, from professional to silly. After going through Sayori's list and with Monica coming up with ideas of her own, the two end in a better spot than from where they began. Well, that's always a good sign. Well, I would say today was pretty productive, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think we're starting to make progress. I can't wait to get some new members. Hey, what's this?
Sayori peers at the sheet of paper Monica was jotting on earlier. Don't mind that. I was just thinking to myself. Join the letter. Man, there's a lot of people accidentally writing things that other people end up finding going on here. Man, I like the way they draw eyes in this style. It's so pretty. Sorry, let's not be weird for a minute. At least for 1 minute, I'll try not to be weird about this.
Join the literature club. Right the way into your heart. That's so cute!
I thought it was a little overdramatic.
But
Sayori pauses and thinks for a moment.
You know, I don't think you give yourself enough credit.
What? What do you mean?
Like, I don't know, I feel like I can tell from talking to you today. It seems like you're always afraid of doing something wrong.
Yeah, but...
Would you call yourself a perfectionist?
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely am. I mean, I always have an idea in my head of how I want things to go, and it's like I can't accept anything less than that. But I think in the end it helps me try my hardest at everything, so I don't think that's bad. I don't think it's that bad. Like with this club, we have such an opportunity to make it into exactly how we envision it, but it feels like we only have one shot at it. So, I'm just really afraid of it deviating from that, the vision.
What's the vision?
It's... Monica pauses to think, then shakes her head to herself. She sighs. I don't know. I just want everyone to... Monica trails off. Smiling, Sayori taps her fingers against the sheet of paper. Right the way into your heart.
I think what you're trying to do is to make the club that you need the most out of anyone. Well, you're the one who knows yourself best, of course, but I'm here to help you.
Monica returns Sayori's smile. It's sort of amazing how kind you are.
I know. I love her.
We're really going to make this the best club ever. Sayori nods, and the two remain silent for a moment, lost in thought. The only sound is the steady whisper of the air conditioner, which hopefully will not put anyone else to sleep. And the only movement is the afternoon sunlight trickling its way in and out of the moving clouds. Sayori breaks the moment with a big yawn. Time to go home?
You tell me. You're the president.
In that case, today's meeting is officially over. I look forward to tomorrow.
Me too.
Sayori beams and grabs her things. You can go on ahead. I need a few minutes still.
Oh, I can wait.
That's alright. I just want some alone time.
In that case.
Sayori waves enthusiastically at Monica.
Good luck.
You really do need good luck in alone time sometimes. Monica smiles and waves in return, and Sayori spins her way out of the club room. All alone, she sighs to herself and takes a minute to zone out. She wasn't prepared for the self-reflection encouraged by Sayori, but she decides it was something she probably needed right about now. The club that I need the most. I don't get it. I just wanted to start a club with more passion. Something that I could use to help lead people to happiness. Literature's the key to that, because it's the window to the real person inside of us. Underneath the person who's forced to always smile and blend in. The person who's forced to be perfect. Monica suddenly notices a folder on the floor by her desk. Did you like the little anime I did there? Did Sayori leave this behind? I hope it doesn't have her homework in it. Worried Monica opens the folder to check. Poems. It's a folder of poems. Become the flower. It looks like Sayori's handwriting. A feeling of joy is a flower plucked from the ground. The color of the scent. It's so pretty in my hair. Every day, speaking of hair, can I, before continuing, say, oh my god, I pity all 4 of these protagonists for the styling they have to do their hair every day and all the accessories they have to fit in. Like, geez, they all have one too. I mean, Yuri's just got like a little clip, but it's still, she's got her hair styled. Must be like a joint 3 hours between the 4 of them. It takes. Sorry. The color of the scent, it's so pretty in my hair. Every day I pluck some flowers as though they grew just for me. A lifetime of peace and nourishment, yanked away in an instant. All for me, all for joy. I need more. I need more joy. I need more happy. Pluck, 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 every day. Pluck, 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 so pretty in my hair. Pluck, 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 you're going to die. And you too. Beneath my feet, a flower stands alone. It beckons to me. Oh, wait a minute. Was the pluck, you're going to die referring to the flower and then the and you too referring to yourself, I guess? Beneath my feet, a flower stands alone. It beckons to me. I twist the stem, freeing it from its clinging roots, caressing the final joyous moment between my fingers. But to what ends? I look in every direction, and in the field I stand in, the prosperous field, is a barren wasteland. The fruits of my labor, the carnage of my joy. And that is why I've decided I must become the flower. What the? Wait, Sayori? Well, that sounds an awful lot like Sayori's sort of mindset. Yes, okay, we get part 2 from that. Okay, so that was only about, I rambled for how long at the beginning? 8 minutes, so and I've been going 31 minutes, so that was roughly, just when my brain decides to do math good, 23 minutes it took me to read that one. So if each of these is 23 minutes times 12, well, never mind. It'll be about 50 minutes to do each one individually, which actually works much better with the model of how I usually do my videos, which is about 50 minutes. So as eager as I am to just like blitz through all these, I better just reserve it to just doing one side story at a time. That said, let's move on to part 2, shall we? I'm glad that so far it seems that they are in fact taking this as sort of the separate canon of what you think the characters are supposed to be at the beginning of the game, and they're not trying to incorporate this in the main story, because this is lighting my heart up like a freaking blinking Christmas light. Another day passes in a flash, and it's already time for the next club meeting. Although Monica should have come up with a plan for today's club tasks, she hasn't been able to shake her guilt and anxiety after reading Sayori's poem. Yeah, because Sayori has that whole thing where she's one of them. I'm bad at explaining stuff, especially like psychological stuff. But you know what I mean? She's like, she pretends for other people's benefit, so being the flower, this thing that knows it will die but like still blooms and all that, I guess is what that poem was getting at. For the benefit of those who observe it, is kind of how, and that's kind of matches with what we know about Sayori's mindset, so I guess that's what Monica's going through right now, is seeing that Sayori, who has cheered her up and given her all this boost of confidence in how to start up this passion project of hers, has been going through a bunch of rough stuff on her own. And all on her own. I'm so stupid. How did I let myself be the center of attention? Sayori's going through all these kinds of feelings, and I'm letting her comfort me instead of the other way around. What kind of club president does that? This whole time I didn't think to ask her about her own feelings. So much for this stupid vision. Sayori enters the club room with her usual smile. But upon seeing the downcast Monica, her smile quickly fades into an expression of concern. Monica? Is everything okay? I'm really sorry. I'm such a terrible friend. Huh? What are you talking about? You're an amazing friend, whom I've known for roughly 3 days. Monica shakes her head. I made this all about myself. Even you said so yesterday. You told me that I'm trying to make the club that I need the most, right? I actually thought that seemed a little pointed when she said it, but then I put it out of my mind. But my problems are so trivial compared to yours. Sayori responds quietly. What are you talking about? But as she says that, her face darkens. Through the silence, Sayori mutters her realization. I left my folder here. Monica stares blankly ahead, unable to come up with a response. I wasn't ready to share those. Now you're worrying about me. I don't want that. But why? We're friends, right? Wordlessly, Sayori nods. Friends look out for each other. I want to be here for you as much as you're here for me. Another long moment passes in silence. The air is incredibly heavy. Someone turn the conditioning on, please. This is different. It wasn't just about you yesterday, it was about the club. Besides, things were so happy yesterday. You don't need to do this all of a sudden. You don't need to do this all of a sudden. I don't want it. I like happy. So, if you do this, then you're just being selfish. Monica massages her forehead, struggling through the frustration of such a paradox. It's understandable that Sayori isn't ready to share certain things, but as unfair as it is for Monica to pry, it's also painful for Monica to force herself to ignore the needs of her friend. I'm sorry I looked. I disrespected your privacy. No, I don't blame you for looking.
You would have at least needed to check if it was mine. You would have at least needed to check if it was mine. Yeah. Monica takes a deep breath. Okay. I understand that you don't want me to worry. And I think I'll be able to put this aside so that we can move on. But can you promise me something? Promise you what? Monica pauses to collect her thoughts. This is the Literature Club. It's a place where people can express themselves in the ways that life normally doesn't allow them to. That's the vision. In fact, it's our vision. Right the way into your heart, or whatever. So, I just want you to promise me that you'll remember that too. It doesn't have to be right now, but I want to be here for you when you need it. I want us to be ourselves like that. Sayuri smiles gently. I'll promise if you promise. Unable to help it, Monica returns Sayuri's smile. I promise. Me too. As the conversation closes, the mood in the room is lifted. With that behind them, it's time to proceed with the club activities. Man, this makes the main story like so tremendously more messed up, but it's meant to be separate. I follow that, at least so far. So, want to teach me about poetry? Huh? But what about recruitment? It's fine. We have plenty of time for that. But right now, I feel like I want to do this. I mean, I do have to fulfill my end of the promise, you know? There's no way I could say no to that. Just don't expect much. I do a lot of writing, but it's not like I'm a scholar or anything. That's fine. I think I just need, like, some motivation. I never know where to start when it comes to writing poems. Starting isn't so hard. You kind of just need to write down your feelings and see where it takes you. Yeah, but that wouldn't come out any good. It's not supposed to. You're gonna have to fight your perfectionist mind on this one. You can just start by... I don't chuckle nearly as... Well, no, I do. I chuckle when I'm recording, and I'm sorry about that. It's like a nervous habit. I just did it again. Actually, I'm starting to feel very vindicated that these people chuckle every, like, 5 seconds. You can just start by writing your feelings and see what kinds of things it makes you think of. And then you can turn your feelings into a little story. You can get your feelings down first and then make it sound pretty later. It's not like building a railroad where you go from one end to the other. It's more like a collage where you find all the things you want to put in and then you arrange them in a pretty way. At least, that's how I do it. It's not like it's the only way. But it's a really good way to not get stuck right at the beginning. I understand. Yeah. I always get so caught up in how it sounds that I forget about what's actually important. Monica pulls out a pen and paper to start writing on. Stop being a perfectionist. You idiot. I'm just kidding. Monica scribbles out "you idiot" after she writes it down. No, keep it! What? Why? Are you calling me an idiot? Of course not. But the point is that you're not supposed to police your feelings, right? Be as dramatic as you want. but I was just... Well, yeah. Underneath the scribble, Monica rewrites "you idiot." She stares at the paper. Her words stare back at her. It's kind of funny how I wrote that down what I'm mad at myself for, and then I did that exact thing anyway. This is really going to take getting some used to. Wow, I didn't read those last 2 sentences even remotely correctly. I believe in you. Thanks. I do too. Me, I mean, but also you, of course. Monica continues the exercise, jotting down her thoughts. It's surprisingly quite a struggle to write without overthinking it. God. I'm glad I haven't had to write a poem in like 5 years. No, I guess, no, it was more like 3 years the last time I did that for school. But man, it's so difficult to write one that actually matters, because you can write flip-floppy nonsense with lots of imagery and stuff without it meaning anything to you, as they've clearly talked about already. But after a while, with Sayuri's guidance and encouragement, Monica's sheet of paper begins to look fairly lively, peppered with all of her random thoughts. Monica looks up and down at her sheet. Gosh, I feel so tense looking at this. I hate it. But it's also kind of liberating. I can tell how hard you're trying. It makes me happy. I think I'll be good at writing poems. Don't give me too much credit. I'd have to try really, really hard at it. But I think that's something I'll enjoy doing. With you. Sayuri beams. I'll stop here, but we still have time. Let's try to work on a new flyer for the club. I won't be so picky about the language. Yay! Let's do it! Monica and Sayuri proceed with their work. With each passing day, the two of them become more confident in the club. Not simply from their recruitment planning, but from their vision as well. As their bond strengthens, so does the essence of the Literature Club. Finally, they begin to truly feel it's only a matter of time before they find more members. Ah, is that it then? For a trust? No, not yet. I thought that didn't really have the kind of conclusive kick I was expecting out of this sort of relationship building sequence they've got going here. Another day passes. As usual, Monica is the first one to the club room.
With her is a printout of the revised literature club. With her is a printout of the revised literature club flyer, complete with all new ideas Monica and Sayuri came up with. If only this was the flyer we gave to that one reading girl the other day. It's so much more attractive than that old one. But the new catchphrase is featured clearly in the center of the flyer. Right into your heart. Right the way into your heart. I remembered what it was. Surely common sense would say that one writes from the heart, not into the heart. But the message being delivered is that one can use writing to discover themselves. Yes, I follow. Don't have to spell it out for me, game. I'm not stupid. I'm less stupid than you think, anyways. Hopefully, Monica and Sayuri had thought that it would be enough to garner. Wait, what? Hopefully that it would be enough to garner some curiosity from the students does not make sense. The M dashes break up the Monica and never mind. Okay, whatever. Hopefully, Monica and Sayuri had thought that it would be enough to garner some security. Hopefully, Monica and Sayuri had thought that it would be enough to garner some curiosity from the students. Why do I feel so tense looking at this? Monica thinks back to the previous meeting when she performed the writing exercise. Was I always this bad at expressing myself? How am I supposed to be president if I can't even demonstrate what the club is supposed to be about? The literature club is truly beginning to take form, but with that, the weight on Monica's shoulders only becomes heavier. Debate club was always about rigid structure, formulating airtight points and counterpoints and delivering them with conviction. I could never do debate club. Oh my god. There were so many assignments in history classes and stuff where they made us do debates, and I just I tried to weasel out of it more than gym class, man, and that was how bad it was. It was about the person on the outside. That's why Monica was so good at it. It existed entirely within her realm of comfort. It's suffocating. I need to break through this mental wall. I need to learn to express myself. For real. Monica pulls out a sheet of paper and grabs her pen. She presses the tip of the pen firmly against the paper. But her hand doesn't move. Instead, a tiny blot of ink collects around the tip of her pen. Monica lifts her pen and stares at the little blotch. For some reason, she feels compelled to run her finger across it. As she does so, the black ink smears across the paper, ruining Monica's canvas. Out of spite for herself, Monica presses her pen down once again, letting the ink collect. She creates a second smear on the paper. This is a reference to, I assume it's at least in part reference to the whole final poem song that she writes. The ink flows into a dark puddle. What will it take just to find that special day? I mean, that also obviously has other implications within the main story, but never mind. Feels like it's related, that's all I'm saying. Come on, Monica. Just move your hand. Monica writes. This is what I get for seeking perfection. A stain. Monica slides the paper away from her and puts her head down on the desk. The air conditioner seems louder today. Maybe she's just more in tune with things. I'm here. Hi. Monica hears Sayuri approach her desk and then stop for a second, presumably reading the piece of paper. Then she sits down in the adjacent desk. Bad day? Mm-hmm. Me too. You too. The new flyer looks so good. I can't tell if those pauses are the game loading or if it's meant to be like a dramatic pause. Sometimes it feels more like it is meant to be, but... The new flyer looks so good. You've been working so hard. On the club. But also something else, I think. Yourself. I can't do it. I'm sorry. It's so hard to just be vulnerable. Sayuri takes the sheet of paper from Monica's desk. She writes something down, then stares at it for a while. Can I trust you? Of course. You can trust me with anything. Sayuri gazes at Monica with sadness in her eyes. Understanding the signal, Monica takes the paper from Sayuri's desk and reads it. Sometimes I want to die. Sayuri. This is really, really hard for me. Her voice shakes. So if I can do it, then you can too. Because you're like a million times better than me. That's completely not true. Sayuri takes a deep breath, trying to steady herself. That's something about me that I've never told anyone before. Even now, my head is like screaming at me to stop. Wait, you don't have to force yourself. I mean, just because of the promise yesterday. I want to. It just feels right. I mean, maybe it's part of the reason I came to this club in the first place. This is a literature club. I trust you. More than I'm scared. At those words, Monica stands up. Man, I feel like that's probably what she was waiting for, right? Given that... Well, never mind. Sayuri must have taken days to work up the courage for this. Were Monica's own futile but genuine efforts actually the push? It's a question, sorry. Were Monica's own futile but genuine efforts actually the push that Sayuri needed? Sayuri's deliberate breaths can be heard over the air conditioner. As she prepares herself to continue, Monica waits in gentle silence.
I have this problem where I get really upset when people worry too much about me. I can't control it. It's like, why waste your energy worrying about me when you can just be happy instead? So I never tell anyone about these kinds of thoughts that I have. It's just so much easier to just smile and help everyone else be happy.
But that's terrible. That's what Monica wants to say, but she stops herself in fear of saying the wrong thing.
It's just that if everyone knew about it, they wouldn't treat me the same anymore. Like whenever I'm not smiling, everyone would worry about me and ask what's wrong. I know that, because it used to be like that.
Sayuri pauses, seeming to recall something about in the past. I wonder if this has got to do with her parents, because they are distinctly absent from all materials thus far. Everyone's are, actually, in spite of the constant references to them, at least with Natsuki.
I just want everyone to be happy. That's the most important thing to me. And letting my people look inside my head doesn't bring happiness to anyone.
Sayuri pauses again, her solemn expression making her look almost like an entirely different person. How did you find the courage to tell me this? You're not worried that I'll be one of those people too?
I am worried. Part of me really hates myself for doing this. But another part of me, I think, just felt like it would be different this time. Whenever we talk about what the club is supposed to mean, I kept feeling like it was right for me to do. Especially after you've been trying so hard to express yourself too. It just made me feel like I could say it in confidence and our friendship doesn't have to change. It's so silly. The club is only 2 people, but it already means this much to me.
Monica feels a tightening sensation in her heart, a feeling of connection as Sayuri's emotions radiate between them. Me too. I was so lost until you showed up. You're so brave, Sayuri. You're so strong and brave, I don't even compare. Monica steps forward. But if nothing else, I can at least offer you some hug energy. If you'd like. I don't know what that noise was, I'm sorry. Wordlessly and without a smile, Sayuri rests her forehead on Monica's shoulder. Through their contact, Monica can almost feel the torrent of thoughts swimming in Sayuri's head. And in this moment, enchanted by the air of the club, Monica realizes that all of the days that have passed, this is the one where she really, really hopes that nobody new walks through the door. She speaks softly. You're like the sweetest girl I've ever met. You can say anything, I'll never judge you. I promise. Sayuri's breath begins to quiver. She takes several deep breaths, trying as hard as she can to start speaking, to say the things she never once dared to say out loud. Finally, she speaks in a choked voice. I know the feeling.
I'm so worthless. I'm worthless and everyone would be better off without me.
She suppresses a sob as a tear falls down her cheek.
I'm just an inconvenience to everyone. I'm not good at anything, and it just feels like everyone just has to put up with me, and I hate it. I hate it.
The more Sayuri speaks, the more she fails to control her voice, falling victim to the overwhelming sadness clutching at her throat and chest.
I don't want to have these thoughts. I want them to go away, and now I'm making you put up with me, and I just want to die.
As soon as Sayuri loses her composure, Monica becomes determined to keep her own. She only wants to be what Sayuri needs right now, so she won't let any sadness show. Just like Sayuri doesn't... Oh man, damn, it's been 40 minutes and already this incredible transferal of energies. Her voice comes through as soft and gentle. This isn't putting up with you. It's just being your friend. Monica offers a few words of comfort. But she knows, Sayuri said it herself, that the thoughts Sayuri experiences are ones that don't belong. And Monica can't magically make them go away. The most she can do is help Sayuri battle them, like any good friend would do. You have so much value. To me and your other friends too. This club wouldn't have been the same without you. I really, really mean that. Your coming here was the best thing that could have happened. Even if we never got any other members, I would still be happy. That's what you brought here. You brought us a vision, and you also brought happiness. And that's your favorite thing to do, right? Sayuri doesn't respond, but Monica feels her gently nod. No more words are needed between them. The two share their embrace for a while longer, Monica letting Sayuri take as much time as she needs. Once her breathing steadies and her sniffles fully cease, Sayuri lifts her head and wipes her eyes.
I guess I needed that. Some days are harder than others.
Well, I'm here whenever you need me. But any other time, I'll make sure that things are the way they usually are. If that's what makes you happy.
Thanks. You're the best.
No, you are. The two exchange smiles. You know, I'm sorry to bring this up all of a sudden, but have you considered talking to a professional? Sayuri nods.
It's scary.
Since it's already so hard to tell people. Yeah. Oh, just hard to tell people. Sorry, I thought she was about to say therapists or like, not people. Never mind, sorry, never mind. Well, of course it'll always be your choice, but if you're ever looking to find the courage for it, I can do my best to help you.
Thanks. I think it helps knowing that you would.
Sayuri suddenly yawns and stretches.
Wow, that made me tired and hungry.
Well, I won't make you do any work today if you're not up for it.
No, I want to. I mean, I can say that it's definitely one thing that makes me happy.
Monica smiles.
But I might want to get a snack first.
All of a sudden, the sound of the door causes the two of them to turn their heads. No! We said no one's coming in today! We were very expressly explained that in our stage directions. The door opens halfway, then stops. A face peeks inside. A face that seems familiar. Is it the girl who initially the flyer was given to? Is it Yuri? Yes, it must be. As if Natsuki would sheepishly peek inside. Never. So do you reckon they go in an order then? Because I was thinking of doing this one next, but if that's that, then perhaps this is the one where Yuri is introduced to Sayuri in the first place. And perhaps I should do them. I guess there's no harm in doing it in the order in the list, right? Oh, either way, I'm so happy. This is like exactly what I was hoping this would be. I'm beaming like this. I'm really sorry that I'm not adding as much commentary in between the lines. Really, I have to be speaking to read out what's happening, and I wanted the thing to continue progressing, but it only progresses if I read the things, because it's a thing about it's a visual novel. So I can't just I get so sucked in and I want to see the next thing, but I can't just let it play out while I'm talking over it. Not that I would want to talk over it anyways. Anyways, I'm just babbling and apologizing for things. Oh, that was good. It seems like foregoing the horror experience a bit. They're sort of their aim here is to take a slightly more nuanced approach to each of the characters' psyches going into these. And these are all the things mentioned here are things that come up in the course of the main story, but they're usually accessory to the horror aspect of it. Or at least that's sort of like you're meant to sort of develop upon it and start caring about the characters, because otherwise if you didn't, then when they died it sort of wouldn't mean anything. But this achieves, at least in my eyes, it seems to achieve a little more depth in that regard. And so far it has the same, even though we're doing a little more focus on the more, I guess, somber parts. That's not exactly what I mean, but that's the best way I can explain what I'm talking about. It still has the same strength of writing, in my opinion. I mean, I'm very fond of the writing in this game, the original. As I mentioned, I was laughing my ass off and crying and awing, and when I was just replaying it and mashing through it, I just would see a line or two, then I was like, oh, it's my favorite. Anywho, it looks like these are timed like the lengthwise just perfectly for me to be able to do one chain of them per episode. So it looks like we're gonna have 5 more episodes of this, and actually maybe there's some kind of final side story when you complete them all that happens. I'm not really sure. So I suppose that is where we will leave this one off as it stands. So I suppose my question. This is tricky because I want to come up with a question that is worthy of the awesomeness that we just experienced, and at least somewhat partially related. I reckon. Well, I guess since this one kind of introduces the ideas of what this organization means to them, and what the vision, as they kept calling it, I suppose it bears asking. Do you ever have any kind of extracurricular thing at school? If you were, unless you didn't go to school, which is also cool. Any kind of group or meeting or anything like that made you, even if not to the same depth of emotion that these two got to, gave you a space to be a bit more of who you were than, a classroom, which is the most stifling environment I could possibly think of. Even if it was just I'm trying to think of them. We had a Super Smash Brothers club at my high school, and that was a fun escape during some of the lunch times. But even aside from and in extracurricular drama stuff that I did, that was a fun way. Even though I often got cast as characters that didn't speak to me, because I don't know why people cast me as serious things, or they always used to in school. I mean, it's me. I don't know. I don't understand why they think. Anyway, sorry. I didn't mean to ramble about myself about that. But stuff like that and extracurricular, or even something also in high school. Sometimes I would just hang out. There was because I was big into drama for a while, Well, I guess I still am kind of. I would always like eat lunch in the drama hallway, and so I just had there was like a group of friends that I met up with there, and we would just sit there and chat or whatever. So if there was I don't know. I'm just using school as sort of as the example because it's the easiest place where you would be in kind of any organization or club or anything like this that sort of let you be more than the rest of the school. Did you ever have any kind of extracurricular activity, any kind of club, any kind of group meeting that you kept going to where you got to be yourself a little more and it was good? And if not, do you think such a thing is possible for you, or do you think it just wouldn't have worked for you to go into any such kind of extracurricular thing? And if not, and if so, why? I mean, just any that thing along those lines of things that you want to talk about. Obviously, you don't have to comment anything. I'm just, if you wanted to leave a comment about that, man, this has got me all flustered. Sorry. It's all good. Talk about whatever you want to talk about. It would interest me and warm my heart greatly to know of any such things. Next episode is going to be some more Fire Emblem Three Houses. You're probably tired of hearing me say that by now, but I regret to inform you we're only a third of the way through the game, so we'll hear it a few more times. And for all the other playthroughs we do of it, because it's a great game. Thank you very much for coming around. Hopefully I see you around. Admiral's going to be out of here. Peace. So I could do a memory gem here. This is right next to the entrance, so why? Why would I ever do that? Is this like a chest? I'm afraid of this. Beast Fang was found. Oh, awesome. That's good loot. It's too dark. Well, solutions we have to that. Oh, come on. Read it a little longer. Oh, the wind is blowing it out, I see.